Shalom, shalom, shalom. Shabbat shalom, man. Ending the week with a Freestyle Friday. The Lord allowed us to get to this day, man. With the brothers of hopeful elect, man, coming back at you with another video. Y'all see the title says, "What about the Arabs?" Right? And I know you may be thinking, what do you mean, what about the Arabs, brother? What are you about to say, man? Well, I'm about to go into how the Arabs treated our people. Because a lot of times, man, we always focus on Esau. We might focus on the Canaanites or the Philistines. We might focus on Moab, right? But a lot of times, them Arabs, man, them Persians, them Medes, them Islamic people, they go unnoticed. And because of the miseducation and the lack of education on that topic, a lot of our brothers and sisters join Nation of Islam. They do Ramadan. They go and touch a rock, right? They take their voyage to Mecca. They're boxing and saying Inshallah, right? A lot of our brothers and sisters, man, have gone astray because they don't know that the Arabs were the first white men. They so-called white men. They don't know that. They don't know that the Arabs enslaved us and forced us into their religion as well. A lot of our people, we flee Christianity and we say, hey, that's a slave religion. They forced us in. Guess what? You ran to another one that they forced us into. Because what happened was they made everything black and white. They created this race theory and everything is black and white. So now you just only focusing on the white. You just focusing on the white because you're so traumatized, but you gotta have your eyes peeled to understand what the Bible said is true when the Bible says, what nation hath not dealt in our spoil? Everybody spoiled us, right? So we're going to get into that today, man. Without further ado, I want to say all glory and honor and praise, obeisance and oblations to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who sent his son as an instrument of salvation for the nation. And the nation is Israel, right? The law, statutes, and commandments that were given to us we're commanded to keep. We're commanded to do these things and not do Halloween, right? All praises, ain't nobody ring our doorbell today. You know what I'm saying? But we supposed to be doing what we're doing right now, going over the Bible, going over the history, going over scriptures. Supposed to be going over these things, right? The brother Obadiah done left the screen, man. His phone or his laptop might have died of some connection problems, or maybe his child pulled out the screen. We all know how that get. Nonetheless, through the spirit, man, we're gonna keep pushing. We gotta play this blowing of the shofar. So play this blowing of the shofar, man. Shalom to the 12 tribes, shalom to the commandment keepers, shalom to the cleavers out there, right? That want to cleave on to us. And he back. Let me add him to the stage.
I don't know what's going on.
Brother left like a thief in the night. All right. Hold on one second. All right. I get it, man. Let's get it. Bear with me, man. Hold on one second. Trying to make sure all this on my screen is right. Should be a good lesson, man. Should be a good lesson. All right, man, let's get it. Blowing of the shofar. Man. The commandments tell us to blow the shofar in our new moons, in our feast day, in our Sabbaths. So it's always good to start with blowing the shofar, man. That was the brother Obadiah with the mighty trumpet blowing. Where do I want to go next? I want to get a preset first. Let me see where I'm going first. Where am I going first? All right. What I just quoted, actually. All right, let's go to First Maccabees 2 and verse 10. And then I got a video for y'all, man. You know I got the videos, man. Freestyle Friday, y'all know I got the videos. It's going to be a good video today, man. Do y'all know who the brother Vic Mensa is? It's a rapper, man, and he's kind of on a journey of truth and history and being serious about his people, right? So, you know, he does a lot of talking on his page now, right? And content creation. But we'll read this and then we'll go ahead and play the video. The video's from Instagram, I believe. Yeah. First Maccabees 2 and 10.
First Maccabees 2 and 10, it says, what nation has not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?
Read that again.
What nation has not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?
Right? The her is Israel, right? What nation, meaning, man, every nation on this earth, right, has taken advantage. That's what the spoils mean. Has taken advantage of our kingdom, the Israelites' kingdom, the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans of Negro descent's kingdom has been taken advantage of by every nation on this earth. The Egyptians, right? The Canaanites, the Chaldeans, the the Philistines, aka the Palestinians, the Arabs, where we're going over tonight, the Cushites, the Ethiopians, the Greeks, the Romans, the Assyrians, the Persians, the Medes, right? All of these nations in the earth, man, the Americans, the Ukrainians, it don't matter. The Asians, the Chinese, they've all taken advantage of our people till this day. And we can go through a list of how they take advantage of us, but that list would be too long. So we're going to keep going with the video, right? With the lesson, I mean. Let's read this real quick. First Maccabees 2 and 9.
First Maccabees 2 and 9, it says, her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity.
They've stolen from us. They've stolen from our lands where we was. They've stolen our vessels, whether that be religious vessels or family heirlooms, whatever. They stole it from us. Keep going.
Her infants are slain in the streets, her young men with the sword of the enemy.
Right. And we still are getting our infants slain in the streets, stolen in the streets, right? Our young men are still getting killed by our enemies every day, right? America is so worried about freeing the Israelis from hostages and stuff like that. They so worried, but they not worried about us though, right? They said pray for Ukraine, but they ain't say pray for Jamaica, right? So these are the things we got to focus on, man, how these other nations treat our people, right? And they don't care about us, man, and they constantly treat us bad. Now, the nation that we're talking about today, man, like we said earlier, is the Arabs. What nation has not taken part in our spoil? We're going to say what nation. That nation is the Arabs today. Let's get into the video. So like, yeah, not that one. Not that one. We getting there. I'm just spoiler alert, man. Spoiler alert, man. Salakia. Here go the video.
A genocide in Sudan.
Right. So he's gonna talk about Sudan. Now, a lot of people, man, people don't know that our people were scattered all over Africa, right? It wasn't just the west coast of Africa. It was all over Africa. We had to travel through Africa to get to the west coast. But he's gonna, talk about the history of Sudan and Egypt and the Islamic slave trade and the influence on them. He always starts all his videos by picking off of his own orange tree in his backyard, right? If you was wondering why that was weird.
But honestly, it's been difficult to gather public support because they're using black mercenaries to kill black people. But now videos have started to emerge, horrible, gruesome mass murders. I asked my father how long it's been going on. He said since the beginning of time. You see, Sudan represents the last frontier of African countries that they couldn't completely Arabize. And of course,
he said Arabize. Yes, I know you never heard of the Arabs taking over, but you know, the Arabs are really trying to take over right now. You see Arabs everywhere. You can go to Asia. They're all over America. They're all in Africa. They want to take over everything and make everything Sharia law, right? That's why whenever you see them, they so passive aggressive. You know, the Israelites, we're very aggressive. You know, everybody saw the Drewski skit. We are kind of aggressive. But the Arabs are passive aggressive. They want to be nice to you. They want to tell you about Ramadan. They want to tell you about Allah. They want to tell you about their prayers and make it seem cool and cultural. But deep down inside, they want to convert you. They want the whole earth to practice what they practice, even if they got to bomb something, right? So he said Arabized. We were Arabized before we were Europeanized. Think about that.
They have oil. This millennia-long attempt by Arab powers to take over Sudan and Northern Africa is exactly how Egypt went from looking like this to looking like this. I love ancient Egypt.
You know, a lot of people, they say that, you know, the ancient Egyptian pictures and everything were whitewashed and got lighter skin because of the Europeans. It really was the European Arabs. It really was the lighter skinned Arabs that did it, man. Because they came over and they took everything, man. Like he's saying, all the northern parts of Africa. Part of the reason why a lot of us ended up on the Western shores was because we were pushed to there through the sub-Saharan slave trade or the Islamic slave trade or the Arabic slave trade. They pushed us from Northern Africa to South Africa, so-called South Africa and so-called West Africa.
An Egyptian history buff. The Nubians of modern Sudan were actually the pharaohs of Egypt at a point in time and always inextricably linked to that cradle of civilization.
Now, a little bit about Sudan too. Sudan is split. You have Northern Sudan, you have Southern Sudan. They had civil wars in Sudan. I like to tell people all the time, 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, if you look at a certain country in Africa, if they have civil war problems, a lot of the time that's because there were Israelites that disagreed with the neighboring Africans in that area, right? Or the neighboring Hamites in that area, right? So you'll see that there was a civil war in Sudan. Some of the people in Sudan adopted Islam and were Arabized, and some of them fought back against it. I want you to take a guess on who fought back against it. Yeah, you got it. Probably most likely the Israelites. So he's talking about the Sudanese people that fought back against being Arabized.
Before that, the original pyramid builder of the Great Pyramid was a pharaoh named Khufu. And somehow
the original builders, right? He said was a pharaoh named Khufu. I don't know what that translates to, right? But we do know that we had a big part in building the treasure cities, right? So let me get that real quick. Exodus 1 and 11. Exodus 1 and 11. If you could read that real quick.
Exodus chapter 1 and verse 11. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. So
yeah, man, we built treasure cities, just like he said. They were known for building, right, in Egypt, right? These Sudanese people. Keep in mind, we were scattered everywhere. Now,
I could say the Egyptians were not black. Since the fuck when you ever meet a
Salakia for the language.
non-black person named some shit like Khufu. Now my son is Kofi, my father is Kweku. You put it together, you get Khufu. Like, what are we talking about? It's like me going to ancient Britain. They got a King Brett. And I say, man, Brett was black. Look at Skepta. And just because I got time today, I'm going to show you how the Egyptians of Khufu's time depicted themselves. This is the tomb of Hesi Ra, a.k.a. Richard fucking Pryor.
Once again, forgive me for the language. But yeah, man, like he said, he looked like Richard Pryor, man. And if we know anything, we know that our people went to Egypt all the time and were confused for Egyptians, right? So let me get this real quick. In Matthew chapter 2 and verse 13. Matthew.
And going down memory lane, man, we talked to an actual Sudanese person who was trying to tell us who we were. And he kind of affirmed the fact that we are the Israelites, but one thing that he referred to us as being was Muslim, right? Because a lot of our people were colonized into what do you call it? Arabized or whatever,
right? Into Islam.
And so the Sudanese man that we were talking to, he knew us as far as he could go back. He knew us as Arabs coming out of the land of Israel, but worshiping as Muslims.
Yeah. So he called us Muslims. We asked him, do you know who we are? He's like, yeah, y'all are Muslims. Y'all are Arab. We like, no, we're not. We Israelites. And he told us when we fled into Sudan from the north that we were preaching an Arab doctrine. And he knew it was us because he's tracked us from there to America. And now he's living in America. Go ahead.
Bro, so you go, man. Go ahead, King.
I said, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, man, it's so crazy that other people in other countries, they know history. They know who we are. They know about us more than we know about us. Because over here in America, we get watered down history. They don't really tell us real history. But in other countries, them other people like them East Indians at the corner stores with the dots on their head, and them Arabs and them Chinese people from China, they know who we are. A lot of them know the truth. They've been taught that over there in their countries. But in America, you don't get the truth. That's why we don't know what be going on, but other people do.
Right, man. Imagine going over to China and none of them know that they're Chinese. They all calling themselves yellow man and yellow woman, right? They call themselves a color out of crayon box. And we actually know they're Chinese, but we know that they don't know who they are. That's how the whole world looks at us. They look at it like, man, we know who they are, but
the funny part is, not to cut you off, the funny part is if we were in that situation, black people, so-called black people, if we were to travel over there to China, we would be so sympathetic that we would want to tell them who they were. Y'all aren't yellow man and yellow woman, y'all are Chinese. But the fact that other nations know who we are and they don't give a crap to tell us who we are is really, one is Bible prophecy, because we see that all of them would conspire against us. But it's another reason why you see Ling Ling and Chung Su come over here, and the first thing they do when they see black people is start recording, because they know who we are and they get a kick out of us not acting like we should be or acting like we know who we are.
Yeah, you gotta think too, bro. Like, man, to these other people, bro, they looking at the people that they read about in the Bible. Like, for the ones in these other countries that know the truth, when they see it, when just say they come to America for the first time and they see a lot of our people, they be amazed, because they're like, dang, these are God's people. These are people that descendants from David, from Solomon, from Christ. Wow, and they don't even know. This is crazy. So we like celebrities to them, and we don't even know. We think we just niggas, but the whole time to them, a lot of them, they like, dang, these the children of God. Let me get a picture. Let me talk to them.
Because I really believe, man, they know that if we were to repent and come to a God, that everybody would have to be subject to us, and they're having too much fun right now for us to wake up and to start keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments.
And also, too, you got to understand a lot of them don't want us to know who we are, because a lot of them, history has been passed down to them, and they know how we treated them when we were on top. They knew that we took lands from them. They knew that we, put a lot of them to flight, a lot of their ancestors to flight. They know who we are. If they know we're the Israelites and they know we're the children of God, right? The God of Israel, they know what we did to the king of Og and Bashan. They know what we did to the Persians and the Medes with Esther. They know what we did to the Egyptians. They know. So they don't want us to know the power that we have. They want us to be goofy. They want us to be lost. And that's why they won't tell us. They will never tell us. You ask them why you don't tell our people, it's not our place. They'll literally tell you it's not our place. We stay out of it. And that's how you know that these nations don't care about us. They don't, right? They want you to buy from them. They want you to support them, but they don't care about you, man. And no, just because one or two stand into a protest with you in March, that don't mean that they care about you. They don't care about you. At the end of the day, they're going to do what's best for their family, right? Let's read this, Matthew 2:13.
Oh, yeah, by the way, too, the guy, if he looked familiar, man, I just realized who I recognize him from. He's an actor, and I think he's mostly known for acting in The Shy.
Who?
The brother that was speaking.
He on The Shy?
Yeah, he's the guy. He's the Bakari.
Who? No.
Man, that man don't watch The Shy.
I watched some clips of it. I just ain't never seen
it. Read on.
Yeah, man. He really is a rapper, though. You know what I'm saying? He really was a rapper first, but he's a good cameo. But yeah, Vic Mensa. But go ahead and read Matthew 2:13.
God, this is Matthew 2:13, and it reads, "And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him."
Right, so the angel is not stupid, man. The angel, he's up there next to the all-knowing. He's up there next to the Most High. He wouldn't tell his brother to flee into Egypt for no reason, right? The angel didn't say flee into Ethiopia. He didn't say flee into Persia. He didn't say flee into Assyria. He didn't say flee and to get with the Girgashites or the Timonites, or he didn't say flee to the Moabites. He said flee to Egypt because he knew that the Egyptians looked like the Israelites. That's the only reason, right? Let's go to Acts. I think it's 28 or 21. 21 and 38. Right? Let's go back. Acts 21 and 37.
The book of Acts, chapter 21 and verse 37. And as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, "May I speak unto thee?" Who says, "Can thou speak Greek?"
Come on, man. So Paul is, he's in court right now, and he's, making some what's the word? He's making he's I forgot the word, man, but he's asking a question, right, in court. Read the next verse.
Verse 38. Art not thou the Egyptian, which before these days made an uproar and led out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers?
Right. He said, aren't thou the Egyptian? Because they looked like Egyptians. He was a Benjamite. He wasn't no Egyptian, but he said, aren't thou the Egyptian? No, he's not no Egyptian. But I'm just saying, I'm showing that just to show that we were a lot of times mistaken for these people that look like Richard Pryor. Right? He's about to show some more images.
This thing is Afro. This is the tomb of Mastaba. These are black people. The Egyptians depicted themselves in a lot of shades, many of them brown, because the concept.
And keep in mind, Egypt was an empire, much like America. So a lot of people that call themselves Egyptian would be like people calling themselves Americans. So a lot of the time you did have Israelite Egyptians, if you got ears to hear and eyes to see.
Race as we know it today is a fallacy. But to try to erase the fact that they were black is some stupid shit. Back to Sudan. My father's best friend in university was a man named John Garang. He was a Sudanese revolutionary and vice
Do
president.
we ever eat the orange?
Proxy Arab militias that would eventually morph into the modern day RSF, the group carrying out the genocide. The first time I ever saw my father cry, we were on a road trip, and John Garang's helicopter mysteriously crashed out of the sky. It's burned into my memory. The destruction of African people by the Arab world is
the destruction of the African people by the Arab world. That's something that our people, you can ask a random person on the street, hey, did you know about the Arab slave trade? They don't know about the Arab slave trade. They don't know about all the millions of Africans that were a part of the Arab slave trade. They got Arab friends. They never thought they might even get their hair cut by some Arabs. They playing basketball with Arabs. They didn't know that the Arab was just as bad as the so-called white man.
Nah, they think a lot of our people think that the Arabs, we like one people, like we the same. We don't look at the Arabs like how a lot of our people be like the white man, you know what I'm saying? Like he a devil and this. Hey, the Arab man, hey, people don't know what he did to us, you know, because
Right.
we look at them like family,
Right.
you know, but he a demon.
Right.
He's a demon.
Just because they got a little color on them.
Can I get a precept?
Yeah. What's the precept?
Ezekiel 30 and 23. And keep it wide if you can. Right here, you can start at verse 22. And this is just highlighting the fact that, man, when you go into the book of Ezekiel, man, there's judgments against all the nations, and you can read a little bit about them, from the Edomites, the Egyptians, to the Elamites. They all kind of got their own chapter. When it comes to Pharaoh and Egypt, a lot of people don't know that it was prophesied that Egypt would be scattered amongst the nations as well, right? And so just to let me back on what the brother's saying in his video, just talking about migrational patterns and how the people that are in Egypt right now are not the people, and to let me back on the brother Azrael, as he just brought up the slave trade that the Arabs had, that contained a lot of the Egyptians and Hamites and stuff like that as well, right? It says, I'll start at verse 23. It says, I will scatter the Egyptians among the nations and will disperse them through the countries, and I will strengthen the arms of the king of Babylon and put my sword in his hand, but I will break Pharaoh's arm, and he shall groan before him with the groanings of a deadly wounded man. But I will strengthen the arm of the king of Babylon, and the arms of the Pharaoh shall fall down, and they shall know that I am the Lord, when I shall put my sword into the hand of the king of Babylon, and he shall stretch it out upon the land of Egypt, and I will scatter the Egyptians among the nations and disperse them among the countries, and they shall know that I am the Lord. So a lot like how we were scattered, the Egyptians were scattered amongst the nations as well, man. And so that's just giving you a little bit of background story, letting you know that migrational patterns is real. And if anybody ever question if those are the real Egyptians in the land today, right, you can show them Ezekiel, and Ezekiel will let you know that, you know, Egyptians were scattered among the nations throughout all the countries, right?
I can't remember what we said was. It might be 9.
11. It's chapter 11.
Oh, chapter 11.
Yeah.
And 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of. The book of Isaiah 11:11, right? It kind of comes to mind after you read that as well, man. Just letting you know, that, you know, our people were in the midst of Egypt, even when Egypt was scattered. Our people was in the midst of a lot of these northern African countries as well, right? So when I'm about to show a map, right, of some of the sub-Saharan slave trade, I want y'all to know that these weren't just Hamites all throughout there. We were considered some of these people because we had fled to some of these lands, and they were converting us. And some of us, you know, this is how we got to some places in Europe, right? This is how we got to some places in Asia Minor and things of that nature, right? So I want to read this real quick. Isaiah 11 and 11.
Con,
Isaiah
this is
11 and
Isaiah.
11.
Oh, go ahead.
So Isaiah 11 and 11, it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt,
Right.
and from Pathros,
Right.
and from Cush,
Right.
and from Elam,
Right.
and from Shinar, and
Right.
from Hamath,
Right.
and from the islands of the sea.
Right. And so when you see all these places, man, these places, they had, you know, key factors and key parts in the sub-Saharan slave trade, right? It's like, yeah, let's see this real quick. So that's not the one I wanted. Where is it? Where is the one I wanted, bruh? Right, medieval Arab slave trade, right? So if we can see this, all these northern parts right here, even to Ethiopia, all of these parts right here, right? All of this, right? All throughout here by the Red Sea, all this, right, was the Arab slave trade. Egypt and all that right here, Sudan's right here, right? So all these countries, Pathros, all of them that he mentioned in Isaiah 11:11, a lot of that was us right here. And he's telling you it's us and not Hamites, because he said he was gonna, you know, recover the remnant of his people. Now, when you look at this Arab slave trade as well, right, you'll see even the Ghanaian Empire had they were taking a lot of people from the Ghanaian Empire, right? And so a lot of people from that Ghanaian Empire were in that slave trade as well, right? Also all down here next, you know, Kenya's around here and some other places. But I'm showing that to show that when you look at the transatlantic slave trade, right? If we go to the transatlantic slave trade, we see that it's right here, this part of Africa. So they were tag teaming us. The transatlantic slave trade was getting us from right here and spreading us this way. And the sub-Saharan trade was getting us all from right here and spreading us that way. Right? It's like, yeah. Right? And you can kind of see that.
I say something real quick, King, while you look for that. There's also, man, I don't know if anybody read, and I don't know if the brother got it pulled up, from Babylon to Timbuktu. But when you read Babylon to Timbuktu, it's a chapter in there going into how Islam came about. And it goes into how it basically speaks on Muhammad and his journey into Islam. And it's when you read that chapter, it gets into how Muhammad was basically making the Jews, our people, he was making them choose between Islam or the sword. So if they didn't want to get down with Islam, they was getting put to death. So it's the same thing with Christianity. When they came with Christianity, either your name gonna be Toby, or you gonna die. You ain't Kunta no more. You finna be Toby and serve white Jesus, or you gonna die. Ain't no difference, man. So yeah, the brother is definitely on point, man. They definitely killed a lot of our people, and forcing a lot of our people to partake in Islam, and now our people freely do it. Same with Christianity. But you
got the precept on that. I think I just butchered that, but I think it was in Genesis. It talked about the Arab man. Oh, they said the Arab man would be a wild man. think it's in Genesis. Come on. Let's read this real quick. From Ishmael, right? Genesis 16 and 11.
This is Genesis 16 and 11, and it reads, "And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction."
Come on, man. So they are our brothers, right? Or you could say our cousins, right? And they're not the chosen seed, right? But Ishmael, right, was from our forefather Abraham. But let's see how he's described. Because, everybody thinks that, being a Muslim is all about love and being a Muslim is all about this and that. No, they're not. It's passive aggressiveness. It's deception, right? They want you to forget how they treated us in the sub-Saharan slave trade, right? Let's read this. This is verse 12, I mean.
Genesis 16 and 12, and it reads, "And he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren."
Right, man. He's a wild man. Like the brother Obadiah said, he loved that sword, man. He loved them bombs. He loved throwing stuff at you in the street, right? His hands will be against every man, meaning he wants to take over every nation, every land, man. He want to go everywhere, and every man's hand against him. That's why everybody hates the Arabs, right? All the nations got problems with the Arabs because the Arabs, they want smoke with everybody, right? And he shall dwell in the presence of all of his brethren. Why? Because he's Shemitic, right? So he's going to be in the land that was given to Shem. You have something to say?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, man, yeah, they're the type, Ishmael, a wild man. He the type of person to attach a bomb to his chest and run into a crowd full of people and say Allah Yakbar and jump in front of the crowd and blow himself up, man. So,
wild man, wild boy, wild boy. So I just saw this, so I'm gonna play some of this, man, and see what she got to say about it. It says, do you know the Arab slave trade in Africa lasted over 1,300 years and was one of the most brutal in history? This outdid the transatlantic slave trade, but for some reason it's been hidden in history.
I mean,
don't nobody in America
that's probably. I mean, it hasn't been hidden for real, but
they call it the hidden slave trade, though. Or I mean, the forgotten slave trade.
It's taught in school too, though. The sub-Saharan slave trade. It's just not more emphasis put on the transatlantic slave trade, I believe, because it has to deal with the Americas. But nonetheless, I think when people do their research and they find this out, I think that's why in the beginning of this whole awakening, a lot of people thought that the Arabs was Esau.
Yeah.
So you telling me that the sub-Saharan was worse than the transatlantic?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, bro. That's a good argument.
Nah, I mean it's history. It's history.
It's history.
Yeah, look.
It is history. But I'm saying the transatlantic, bro, you had like Esau was doing all type of. I ain't gonna lie, the Arab man was too. They was too.
It's one of them things, like it's one of them truths that sometimes people can't accept. Like if we were to say Hispanics low key get abused by the police worse than Negroes in America, people would think that you tripping. But statistics and show that Northern Kingdom, man, a lot of them have had it, and still get it way worse than so-called Jake do.
So
yeah,
this right here says
how many people died during the transatlantic. How long did the transatlantic last?
It was a larger forced migration in the transatlantic. 110.7 million survivors in the Americas between 1526 and 1867, spanned about 366 years. Right. The The Arab slave trade spanned over 14 centuries. It was a smaller group of people, though. I think it was only like 6 million, not 10 million, compared to the transatlantic slave trade, whose estimates are less precise. Devastated African societies, characterized by extreme violence, trauma, and death, with nearly 2 million people dying en route. Right. So the slave, you might be right. The transatlantic, it probably was worse, but the Arab slave trade was just longer.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah. So it says millions of Africans were enslaved and yet silenced. It's time to unearth what they tried to bury. History erased is pain repeated. And then, that tracks too, because the scripture said, Esau's gonna be dealt with because he furthered the affliction. So I would be guessing from that precept, like Esau did it the worst. Everybody had a hand in us, but Esau did it the worst, right? Let's play this a little bit.
Trade. This began around the 7th century, just after the rise of Islam, and it lasted for over 1,200 years. That's twice as long as the transatlantic slave trade. Millions of Africans, estimates say anywhere from 10 to 20 million, were taken from East, Central,
and if you look at this map right here, you can see it's that same place we highlighted, and they were taken to these countries. They were taken over here. So we were taken to the Americas. That's how we got over here, right? North and South America. But these nations, they were taken to parts of Asia Minor. They was taken to parts of Europe, right? These nations was taken, to those places. So this is how we get scattered everywhere. Because if these nations right here were scattered over here, and these nations were scattered over here, that's how we got across the whole earth, through these slave trades.
Of West Africa, and sold across North Africa, the Middle East, Persia, the Arabian Peninsula, and even parts of India, Pakistan, and Southeast Asia. And here's the key thing. This wasn't one single trade route. It was
because you got to think, man, we built America. You think this the only nation we built up? Man, we built them cities in China. We built them cities in Asia, in Asia Minor and Persia and all these. They got the same people to build everywhere.
They say it's something. I got to look more into this, but it's something floating around saying that our people built the Great Wall of China, bro.
Yeah,
I got to look more into it.
When you look at all these great cities, man, it was built by a lower class, and that lower class happened to be very melanated, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Network made up of two major routes that we're going to break down next. So we're going to talk about the trans-Saharan slave trade, which is just the first part of the Arab system. The trans-Saharan slave trade, it involved moving enslaved people north, across the Sahara Desert, into places like Egypt, Libya, Morocco, and Tunisia. And this was done through caravans, which, if you don't know, included huge groups of camels and traders moving through brutal desert conditions. People walked for hundreds of miles in chains without enough water or food. Thousands died just trying to get to the slave market. So who were the victims? Most were young boys and girls from places like Mali, Niger, Chad, and Sudan.
What do we read?
Niger.
What was the first precept we read in 1 Maccabees 2:10? What nation had not had part of our spoil? And it talked about our young ones, our young princes or whatever, being slain in the street, taken. That's what she's talking about, the young boys. Look at all these young boys.
Hey, can
look,
we preach?
Look. All these Arabs right here, we want to be just like them. We joined the Nation of Islam. We want to put these same robes on when we come out of prison. We want to, have all the kufis and the turbans on. We want to look just like these people. But look how they had our people, man. What was you saying?
Man, could we precept that Acts 13:1 when they said they was called Niger, and that's where our people was kind of one of the places our people was sent to. She just said was Niger.
Yeah, let me get this too, man.
Was like black or
dark. It was actually a country too. Niger was a country. Niger was a country that was a part of the transatlantic slave trade. Let me see if I can find it.
Let me tell you what's so crazy, man. I remember the brother Nehemiah, man. He would just pull. I think it was brother Nehemiah. He he was looking into like the Arabs over there in Dubai. They rich. Like one of the richest dudes is an Arab from Dubai. I think he's from Dubai, man. I'm like, bro, these Arabs, they benefiting off us too. Like they a lot of stuff they got, it was ours. The same way the white man got our stuff too.
Yeah, man. You know,
Ice box.
the Arabs in the running for the Arab man, he's in the running for the wealthiest, right?
Yeah,
That's why
yeah,
you
yeah.
see they buy all the media, they buy all the boxers and all they buying Netflix out, they doing all that, right? I'm trying to find that it was a map that I seen earlier that had Niger on there.
All them diamonds and gold, that ice box be trying to sell to our people. All that stuff really belong. It really be ours. Stole
man.
all of it.
What did second Maccabee say? First Maccabee say? It said they took our precious vessels, man.
Yeah, man.
Let me see. Let me just type it in. Arab slave trade, Niger. Was it in this one? I didn't see it. Should be somewhere around here. It was a different map that I saw. Slovakia.
And you know how the so-called white man pronounces the word Niger.
Yup.
He'll tell on himself, man.
With 2 G's.
He'll tell on himself when you go to the Blue Letter Bible, man, and hit audio. Nigger.
Negar.
No, it's nigger.
Trying to find that map, man. It was a map that highlighted. It was like a very detailed slave trade map.
Just type in Niger on the map. Probably.
Is this it? Yeah, it's right here. Right. So the ripples effects of Sudan's war are being felt across the continents. Right. Where is that map at? Where's the map at?
On the map.
It's madness. Where's the map? So anyway, we can see right here, man. Let me try to make it a little closer. Getting smaller. Bear with me. But anyway, man, you can't probably see it, man, but so all right, right here, you see it's Niger right there, man. It's right next to Egypt, Sudan. It was a country named Niger, right? That's where they get like that Niger River was going through Niger, right? And so a lot of our people, you know, we fled into all of these places, and that sub-Saharan slave trade took from all of these places, right? But like the brother said, man, it says in Acts, right, that we were called Niger because, you know, they probably got us from Niger. But yeah, man, nonetheless. Let me go back to her video.
The boys were often castrated and made to serve in royal palaces, and courts. The girls were sold as
they were made eunuchs.
Esau did the same thing.
Yep.
House servants and entertainers. The violence was extreme, but so was the erasure. Most of these people never got the chance to build families. Many never made it out of servitude. And because they were often forced to assimilate, their history was wiped out. No records, no surnames, no lineage left behind. So
what that sound like? The remembrance to cease.
Jeremiah 17.
Right. They was cut off from their heritage. They remember the remembrance of them ceased from among men. Right. And I know somebody from the military that went over to like Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and all that, and that, you know, and parts of Africa, and they offered His hotel offered him slaves or servants, right?
What?
Yeah. It's probably still that way to this day. They don't call them slaves or servants, they call them something else, but they pretty much, they come to your room, they do whatever you want them to do.
2, under the Arab system, is the Indian Ocean slave trade, which ran east, not north. This route took people from East Africa, places like Tanzania, Kenya, Mozambique, and Madagascar, and shipped them across the Indian Ocean to their
That's the curses, man. They got on that boat too.
Peninsula, Iran and Iraq, parts of India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, even Indonesia and southern China. This
is why we got to stay out of the Middle East drama. Everything
right.
in the Middle East is because of how they treated us.
Right.
Lasted over 1,000 years. And just like the Trans-Saharan route, it focused on Black labor, sexual exploitation, and military service. In India and Pakistan, enslaved Africans became soldiers, guards, palace staff.
It wasn't just Roman, right? And we know the brother Cornelius. It wasn't just the Roman army that we joined. It wasn't just the American army that we joined, right? It wasn't just we joined everybody's army. That's how we could catch a break, is fighting for them. And they knew we was great warriors.
Ain't nothing different now.
I believe if you go to the I don't think it was the Revolutionary. It could have been the Revolutionary War. It could have been the War of 1812. It could have been a lot of wars that our people sided with the opposition to fight in because of how they were being treated in this land. But I know it was happening for sure in I don't think it was the French and Indian War, but I want to say the War of 1812 was one. I think the Revolutionary War, you had some of our people joining forces with, you know what I'm saying, the British to kind of keep them in control because of the way we were being treated in this land.
Yeah, man, they had us on both sides. They even tapped into the Buffalo Soldiers, man. It's like, we need them Buffalo Soldiers to help us.
Or enslaved women for royal households. Many of their descendants are actually still there today, but they're often marginalized and forgotten. So why don't we hear about this as much as we hear about the transatlantic? One word: erasure. Many enslaved men were castrated, so they couldn't have families. Others were absorbed.
Man, they cut that seed line, man. They cut the seed line.
To Arab and Asian societies, renamed, converted, and stripped of all identity.
Renamed, converted. The Most High God said, you want to be like these other nations, I'm gonna make you a Gentile. I'm gonna make you one of them. Stripped of your identity. You don't deserve this jersey, boy.
There was no diaspora like we see in the Americas because so many people were intentionally erased. And because Arab and Muslim societies never really publicly confronted their role in slavery, there's no global reckoning, no memorials, no documentaries, no widespread education, just silence. So yeah, I focused on the transatlantic slave trade in my last video because that's our direct link, especially here in the Americas. But if we're talking about Black displacement and stolen lives, we do have to talk about all of it. The Arab slave trade, the Trans-Saharan route, the Indian Ocean route. 3 names, 1 system, 1 long history of Black people being stolen, used, erased.
Hey, the Most High God did not play.
No, he didn't.
He said he was gonna, we couldn't run. We couldn't hide from the Most High. He was getting us from every which way. He was getting us from every which country, every which tribe. We couldn't blend in, bro. They was getting us. We couldn't run from no nation. Every nation. It's like the nations, all of their prophets and seers, they heard from an angel and was like, hey, you can go grab our people. And they all just went and grabbed our people, man. Oh, we can finally hey, I just got word. I'm getting the sensation. I'm getting the feeling that if we come against Israel, we'll win. And they all, at the same time, they just look at this. They just started grabbing us. Come on, we gotta go. We gotta go and get them before they run out. They getting us like the Jordans at the store. Everybody trying to get the Jordans before they sell out.
Never properly accounted for, so we honor them, even the ones we don't know, because we're not just survivors of one trade. We're survivors of every direction they dragged us, and the world still owes all of us answers.
No, they don't, because it's part of the curses for our disobedience. They don't owe us nothing.
That is the answer.
They don't owe us nothing. That's what we got for our disobedience, right? I want somebody to read this highlighted part right here real quick.
The highlighted part real quick. And it says, for centuries, caravans of Arab and Berber trades transported African captives from sub-Saharan Africa, trekking along a series of, I can't read that word. If you can zoom in, I can probably see it better.
Arduous
Stages to the slave markets of North Africa, the Mediterranean, Asia, and Europe. From 8th century, demand for African slaves was accentuated by the spread of Islam.
So really, they kind of put the highlighter on us like, hey, come get these Negroes. Everybody started having their pick of the litter, man. All because of Islam. Islam penetrated ever farther south, right? So they didn't just stop in Northern Africa. They went farther south, deep into West Africa, right? Even along East Africa, all of Africa. All of Africa. They was messing with our people, man. But Khan, man, let's go back to this video real quick.
Ancient tale. Our freedom is not only to be won from the Europeans, it's just as necessary to break free from the abuses of the Middle East. But look, the Middle East.
He's saying stop becoming Nation of Islam. Stop saying that you're a Muslim. Stop trying to adopt all of their ways, bro. That's what he's saying, right? I know everybody come against the white man, but what about the Arabs? Hence the title.
Arab people are not a monolith. We're very connected. There's a lot of love, but it's shit to address too. When I was in Palestine, the children called me nigger.
That word is everywhere.
The children out?
Yeah,
That's what I'm trying to tell you, bro. That word Niger in the Bible, man. Everybody knew us as nigger, bro. When you go to the pronunciation, it's no mistake that the audio says nigger. Because everybody in the world knew us as that.
Right. When they brought us over on the slave ships, they didn't just start calling the slaves nigger out of nowhere. That's what they was calling us in Africa when they got us. They wasn't trying to be derogatory. They thought that was our nation's name.
Bruh.
They thought it was our nation's name.
I just thought about something.
What's that?
What if the white man heard the Arabs calling us that?
Yeah.
And he started calling us that. So he didn't come up with it like we think he came up with it.
Right. That's why you can go to all these, bro. You can go to all these places. They know us as nigger, bro. Even the Asians. You know why the Asians know us as nigger? Because they had a part in the slave trade of both the transatlantic and of the sub-Saharan. All of these people that had a hand in these slave trades, they knew us as nigger. Because when you go into that word nigger, right?
Don't get us flagged, dog.
You said what?
Don't get us flagged.
When you go into that word Niger, it really just means Christian or follower of Christ or whatever, man. They knew who we were as a people, right? But come
in Arabic. And I made a decision that day that one injustice does not justify another. It's possible for me to believe in your freedom, even if you don't believe in mine.
Hey man, and what's that precept that we always go to in Proverbs?
The orange look good too.
About the righteous, authority. 29:2.
We
Proverbs.
We kind of associate the N word with being
derogatory. Hold on real quick. Read this. We'll come back to that. Read this real quick.
Proverbs
20. Go ahead.
Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn.
Right. The last thing he said in the video was, it's possible for me to believe in your freedom, even if you don't believe in mine. Because when we're in rulership, the whole earth, man, is gonna rejoice. Why? Because there ain't gonna be no more war. It ain't gonna be no mistreatment of people, right? We're gonna set the record straight. And all of these people getting captive by each other, that's gonna stop because they'll just be captive by us. But what he said is true. Like, you know, our people, man, we believe we want a better life for everybody. And that's why we're so vulnerable as a people. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to get this real quick before we go into what you was about to say, Janal.
It's crazy too, man, because it's crazy they was calling him that because he doesn't even necessarily look like a Negro. You know what I'm saying? He low-key could go for an Arab.
Right.
They seen his swag, man. They seen his style. They seen he was different than the average Arab, man.
Right, man. Deuteronomy 28 and 37. Well, they were calling him that in Sudan. Deuteronomy 28, 37.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 37. And it reads, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee.
Come on, man. So it don't matter, man. You go to Sudan, you can go to anywhere in Arabia, whatever, wherever the Lord lead us, we're gonna become that byword, that nigger word, man, that N word, right? That's what they knew us by, right? It didn't matter wherever we went; they all knew us by this byword, this other name, right? I want to get that real quick, because y'all might have thought I was bluffing when I said it really just pretty much means follower of Christ, right? Let me get it in the blue letter. Was it? Wait. Was it Acts 31?
13.
Oh.
13 and 1.
Tripping. Let's get it real quick, man. If somebody could read this for me. Acts 13 and 1.
Scroll down. Oh, never mind. Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers as Barnabas and Simeon that was called Negar.
Right.
And
So,
Lucius.
Go ahead.
And Lucius and Cyrene and Manaen, which had been brought up with Herod, the Tetrarch, and Saul.
Right. So let's go to that word, Niger or nigger. Right. First of all, let's hear it. Just so y'all know, we are not making this up.
Strong's G 3526. Niger.
So if this is what everybody was saying when they picked us up, of course it's going to travel across the waters. This is what they thought we were. Just like even in Rome, they thought this was what we were. They called us this, right? And what does it say? What does it mean?
That proverb and byword.
Right. What does it say? Niger, black. Surname of prophet the Simeon. But right here it says what? A Christian.
Ooh.
Right. So everybody, you know, don't call me that. That's derogative, blah, blah, blah. Hey, bro, that's just what they knew us by. Because to them, that's what this meant. This is what that meant. A black Christian. And they knew Christ was black. Drop a bomb. They knew he was black. It wasn't no arguing about was he black, was he olive skin. No, they knew he was black, and they knew we followed him.
Facts.
So, can I say what I was about to say?
Yeah.
I was bringing up the fact that, you know, a lot of times we take it as derogatory, but when we go to other places, they might not think we take it as a derogatory term. One, because we say it to each other here, and they know that. Two, because we might have taken on that word pridefully back in the day and can't recall that. So, like for instance, I mean I could be wrong, but I just don't think the other nations are that ignorant to call us a racial slur to our face, especially if we haven't offended them in any way when we go to their land. Now I could be wrong. They could be that bold, but I'm just thinking if a tourist is coming that hasn't done anything to you or whatever, right? For you to just come out your mouth and say something to offend that person for no reason sounds a little far-fetched. It makes more sense that they would call you this because they think you know that this is what you're called and that you call yourself this too. And so also when they see videos of us and hear our songs, in our songs we call each other this, they're probably really thinking we know that we call it that we're known as these people.
Yeah, man. When I came into the truth and I I learned about Blue Letter and Strong's and I came across this, it's probably like my second year in the truth. Man, I started saying nigga again. You know, when I first came into the truth, I wasn't saying it because I was like, man, we Israel, we ain't supposed to be talking to each other like that. But when I found this, I was like, man, I feel like we already knew we was this. And so I think we took it derogatory when we got over here because we just kept hearing them say it so much. And whenever they would say it in a nasty way and they would whip us and say it. They would, do all different type of stuff and say it. But you got to think logically here. How did they just come up with that name? They didn't just come up with that name when we came over here and say, you know what, we're going to call them this. They already had a preconceived notion of what this name was and who this name belonged to when they brought us over here, right? Yeah, because if you look at this, the Latin origin, it just means black. But you knew it just wasn't just any black because the Egyptians weren't called nigger. The Ethiopians weren't called, all these other nations, they were calling us that. These other Africans was calling us that. So it wasn't just that it was black. It was that you were black and you was a Christian. And so I think, and like I said, I think, it's me. I said, I think, I speak as a man. I think that we accepted that name as a people. And so I don't think nothing's new under the sun. I think just like how we say it today, my nigga, just like we say it today, I feel like, we were saying it back then. So this is your chance. When you get around them white folks, go ahead and say nigga, make them uncomfortable. And
then go to the Blue Letter. But then I was gonna say nothing happens by happenstance, man. And I say that because nothing happens randomly. They just didn't some random white person thought of a word, just made up a word and they say we're gonna call these people this. Now they got it from somewhere, just like the word ghetto. We didn't put that term ghetto on our people. We didn't put that term ghetto on our communities. Somebody put that on our people. It was our oppressors, and they just didn't pick that word for no reason, right? We done seen what the word ghetto means. They picked that word for a reason. They picked that what is so-called the N-word for a reason, and it's like it's in our face, and our people just don't even recognize what it is and what they do. We ask our people on the street, what do you think the word ghetto means? Right? They say ratchet. You know what I'm saying? They give all these black terms, so-called black terms, but it's like, no, do you know what the actual word means? It's an actual word. Right? Even like, I mean, this is off topic, but even like the word bougie, you know where that come from?
No.
The black bourgeoisie or something like that, right? They were I don't know if I can call them coons, but they were the upper class black people during the Civil Rights Act, right? The rich black people that looked at themselves as better than the other black people, right? Kind of like house Negroes, right? But that term bougie, man, our people throw around. They don't know the history of that either, man. You ask somebody, what does it mean to be bougie? And it's actually the opposite of what it was actually about, right? Bougie now means, you look at somebody bougie, you might look at somebody with a bunch of knockoff Louis Vuitton or something like that and call them bougie. Back then, you know what I'm saying? They wasn't wearing gaudy and tacky outfits and stuff like that. They was doctors and lawyers and stuff that was the black bourgeoisie or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Where that term comes from. But this just to show you that the terms that are often used today, our people, it's right in our face and we don't even know where the origin of these things came from.
Come on, man. And so none of this stuff is by happenstance, right? And we go to this all the time. The word ghetto was placed on us as well. And we see that here says the area in a city where Jewish people lived. So they know that we were the Jews. That's why they call us ghetto. They knew we were niggers. That's why they call us niggers. they knew these things, right? But we have just, it's been hidden in plain sight, right? We've just been, we've just been programmed to go against the truth. This just like, our people today, you tell them they're an Israelite and they say, no, I'm not. That's all it is. It's because they done programmed us so much to accept that we're black. But we don't ever stop and think, who called us black? They did. So why do we accept that? Right? So anyway, man, I hope this was edifying, man. Just a little history. What about the Arabs? Don't forget about the Arabs, man. And don't forget about the Chinese, and don't forget about everybody, man. They all had something to do with the state of how we are today. And they've all been blessed by us. They, that prophecy that, Abraham's seed was going to bless the nations. It came to pass because we done blessed everybody. His seed done blessed everybody. Right? Go ahead. What was you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say, man, like I was saying earlier in the video, if y'all want to look into that Babylon, the Timbuktu, the chapter when it was going into how Islam came about, you can order the book, or you can go to Google or go to the internet and type in Babylon and Timbuktu, and the full book is on the internet. If y'all want to go check it out, man, y'all can just scroll down. The whole book is on the internet. You don't even got to pay for it.
Pretty affordable, man.
Yeah.
Like
good history.
The PDF right here.
I bought that book like 5 years ago.
Come on, man. Everybody, when you first came into truth, this was like a part of the starter pack, man.
Yeah, man. I had about 4 of them. Kept getting wet. Had in my book bag. Stuff get on. I gotta get another one. Pages get stiff. Gotta get another one.
Them were the good days, man. When there was a starter pack to be an Israelite, man. A starter pack.
Israelite starter pack.
You had the Red Apocrypha. You had the Babylon of Timbuktu. You had the King James.
The dictionary.
The King James dictionary.
The Bible dictionary. You had a staff. You had the military boots.
Had the speaker.
It was called the Vatican Bible Dictionary or something.
Zonovan.
Zonovan. Yeah, Zonovan Bible Dictionary, right? And all of that right there, you had the little book collection. So when you went out to teach, you look smart because you got all them books. Hey, this brother got another book in his bag.
Gotta keep them on you, man. You never know who you run into. Still good to have even now, though.
Then you had the cuts in them, man. The plain color shirt with the fringes on it. It didn't have no logos, none. Just plain color shirt. Hey, that starter pack.
Hey,
and that Arabic rap that Buck got around his head right now.
Oh, yeah, the Arabic rap. Yeah, I keep still.
Hey, I got a red one, man. Be kind of fine now.
Yeah, I got a red and white. Hey, man, it's this place it's like this little place in Atlanta, bro. It's like a little community of Arabs. I don't know. I forgot what it's called. In Atlanta, bro, you go around there. They got different like stuff they be selling, but they have some nice turbans, bro. They got some nice turbans, got some nice garments. I'm like, dang, put some fringes on them guys. Gotta be cold, man. The Arabs be having all the. See, they probably got all that from us. These little head scarves and the garments. A lot of people look at Arabs as doing that, but they probably got that from us, man. For real. They had some nice garments. I'm like, man,
I was hoping
get one of them.
Google, man. Somebody used to have pictures all over.
Somebody had Israelite camp starter packs. They had the microphone. They had the what? They had the microphone. They had KJV Bible.
Look at the young Chief Ephraim, man.
The garment. We can't. Your screen ain't shared.
You're not sharing nothing.
Oh, my bad.
I don't know what you were looking at.
You ain't been sharing nothing for the longest. And that look like Dr. Lattimore.
That is him, ain't it?
Chief Ephraim. Yeah, that is Chief. Then you got the young Ratazan over here with True
Yeah,
Nation.
man. Rato, man. That's
And he in the
crazy.
same spot for BOW. He built on another man's turf. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
ISUPK.
I'm trying to find, man, the starter pack. I don't think they got it on here.
You probably gotta go to Pinterest.
Usually it pop up. Pinterest pop up with Usually Pinterest pop up with Google though.
Starter pack 101.
Package deal. Probably should just type in Israelite starter pack.
I did. It was a bunch of folly that popped up. Some Jewish folly.
Jewish.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna find out. That was like 5 years ago. They probably took all that down.
Yeah. Yeah, I ain't gonna find it. But yeah, man, them was some good times, man. Them was some good times, man. But yeah, man. Nonetheless, man, I hope you guys was edified today on this Freestyle Friday. What about the Arabs? We're your brothers of the hopeful elect. Me, your brother Azrael, your brother Denal, your brother Obadiah, your brother Isaiah. And you know, Lord willing, we're on again tomorrow for a Sabbath lesson. Yeah, man. So stay tuned. We say Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat.